Welcome to Sheikh Hamdan's Fans official channel, your premier destination for the latest updates on the Crown Prince's life, royal family dynamics, and inspiring stories. Today, we're excited to share a poignant poem by Sheikh Hamdan, which explores the complexities of love, trust, and betrayal. So, let's dive into the English translation of this thought-provoking poem. Trust is often touted as the cornerstone of love, but what happens when that trust is nothing more than a fragile illusion? Our story begins with a woman who wholeheartedly believed in her partner, in the warmth of his voice, and the gentle touch of his fingers. Together, they painted a vivid picture of their future, filled with whispered dreams and laughter. However, as time passed, tiny cracks began to appear in the facade of their relationship. At first, she brushed off the subtle signs of deception: a missed call, an evasive glance, a vague explanation. Love, after all, can make us blind to the whispers of doubt. But as the inconsistencies piled up, she couldn't shake off the feeling that something was amiss. The turning point came when an unfamiliar number flashed on her phone, with a message that made her heart skip a beat. "Did you tell her yet?" The words hung in the air like a challenge, forcing her to confront the truth she had been avoiding. That fateful night, as her partner's arms wrapped around her, she felt the weight of love and betrayal coexisting in the same breath. The message haunted her, echoing in her mind like a warning she could no longer ignore. As the dawn broke, she found herself at a crossroads, torn between the desire to confront the truth and the fear of shattering the fragile illusion of trust. The poem raises profound questions about the human heart, love, and the blurred lines between truth and deception. As she slipped out of bed, her heart racing with anticipation, she couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. Her partner's phone lay on the nightstand, its screen dark and silent, yet it seemed to hold secrets she was desperate to uncover. With trembling hands, she picked it up, and the screen sprang to life, revealing a missed call from an unfamiliar number, the same one that had sent the cryptic text. The message thread was brief, but every word cut deep, like a dagger to her heart. "I miss you. I can't keep lying to her. We need to talk before she finds out." The air felt thick and suffocating as she dropped the phone, her stomach twisting into knots. She turned to face her partner, who stood in the doorway, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, confusion etched on his face. For a moment, they just stared at each other, the tension between them palpable. Then, he spoke, his voice husky from sleep. "I was going to tell you." But she cut him off, her anger and hurt boiling over. "Tell me what? That you've been lying to me? That everything we built was a sham?" His eyes betrayed guilt and regret, but it was too late. The trust was shattered, and she was left standing amidst the ruins of their relationship. As she clutched the phone, now a symbol of his betrayal, she felt like she was grasping for evidence in a crime scene. Her mind reeled with questions, but the one that echoed loudest was, "How could you?" The man she loved, the one she trusted with her heart, had been deceiving her for months. The weight of his infidelity crushed her, leaving her gasping for air. "How long?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. He swallowed hard, his eyes avoiding hers. "A few months." The words hung in the air like a challenge, and she felt a broken laugh escape her lips. Months. Months while she had been falling deeper in love, he had been seeking comfort elsewhere. The question that haunted her now was it love? But she knew the answer, and it only added to her pain. She nodded slowly, biting back the sob rising in her thirsty throat. The irony wasn't lost on her. She had defended him, believed in him, and now she was left standing amidst the ruins of their relationship. "You know what's funny?" she said, her voice laced with a mix of sadness and anger. "I thought you were different." His face twisted in a mixture of emotions, but regret was too little, too late. "Say something," he pleaded, but she just lifted her chin, blinking back the tears. "I did," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I asked if it was love." He looked away, and that was the answer. The silence that followed was oppressive, heavy with the weight of his deception. She knew she had to leave, had to get out of there before she let his lies consume her. "Where are you going?" he asked, his voice cracking with emotion. She stopped, but didn't turn back. "Anywhere but here." With that, she walked away, leaving behind the shattered remains of their relationship. The pain followed her, a constant companion as she navigated the streets, unsure of where she was headed. Her phone buzzed, a message from him. "Don't do this, please, let's have a conversation." She chuckled bitterly, the sound torn from her throat. Conversation? He had chosen silence over honesty, and now it was too late. She blocked his number, a small but satisfying triumph. As she walked, the city lights blurred together, a kaleidoscope of color and sound. She felt lost, alone, and adrift. But then, her feet seemed to move of their own accord, leading her to a small cafe they used to frequent. She hesitated, unsure if she was ready to face the memories that lingered within those walls. But then, she saw him, a stranger, sitting inside, watching her with an intensity that made her heart skip a beat. As she stood at the window, a stranger's gaze caught her attention. Though unfamiliar, his eyes held a reassuring quality, as if he saw beyond the shattered remnants of her heart. After a moment's hesitation, she pushed open the door, and the cafe's warm aroma enveloped her. To occupy her hands, she ordered a drink, and when she turned, the man was still watching. For the first time since she'd walked out that door, she felt a spark of curiosity, of possibility. She held his gaze for a bit longer, then took a deep breath and walked toward an empty table. Maybe she wasn't ready to let go of the past, but the future was a different story. As she sat, the warmth of the cafe seeped into her bones, and the gentle hum of conversation stabilized her frayed nerves. The man continued to observe her, his face unreadable, yet somehow comforting. He seemed to sense the turmoil brewing inside her, but his presence was non-intrusive. On a whim, she met his gaze, and he smiled, a small, knowing curve of his lips, as if he understood something she hadn't voiced. For a second, she debated looking away, but after the night she'd endured, what did she have to lose? So she smiled back, a small, fleeting smile, but real nonetheless. The man's head tilted slightly, as if he was pondering something. Then, he rose, and as she tensed, expecting him to leave, he surprised her by walking over to her table. Her heart racing, she stiffened, but he simply nodded courteously, waiting for her permission to sit. She hesitated, then gestured to the vacant seat, whispering, "Go ahead." The man sat, his deep, silky voice a balm to her frazzled nerves. "Rough night?" he asked, his tone tinged with empathy. She gave a hollow laugh. Something like that. He didn't pry, didn't offer insincere condolences or ask invasive questions. Instead, he sipped his drink, letting the stillness between them linger. For the first time that evening, the silence didn't feel oppressive. She didn't know what this was, a distraction, a mistake, maybe, but for now, she didn't care. For now, she just wanted to exist without pain, and in this stranger's presence, she found a fleeting sense of peace. As they sat together in comfortable silence, she began to notice the small things about him. The way his eyes crinkled at the corners when he smiled, the gentle way he cupped his hands around his mug, the softness of his voice as he breathed. It was as if her senses had been dulled by the pain of the past few hours, and now, in his presence, they were slowly coming back to life. The stranger's gaze met hers, and for a moment, they just looked at each other, the connection between them palpable. She felt a sense of wonder, of curiosity, that she hadn't experienced in a long time. Who was this man, and why did she feel so drawn to him? She didn't have the answers, but as she sat across from him, feeling the warmth of the cafe and the gentle hum of conversation, she knew that she wanted to find out. As we conclude this emotional journey, we'd like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for staying connected and supporting us through the highs and lows. Your presence has been a constant source of comfort and inspiration, and we're honored to have shared this story with such a compassionate and engaged community. Thank you for reading, for sharing, and for being part of this journey. We're grateful for your love and support, and we look forward to continuing to share stories that touch the heart and soul.